Welcome back to the Arthur Ashe Stadium court. Next match up, Jennifer Capriati against Francesca Schiavone. Capriati, who's been just easing her way through the draw. Not too many people talking about the American at the start of the tournament as a potential winner, even though she did win New Haven, but certainly people think that, again, this could be another Grand Slam in the bag for Capriati. Considering the weather that we've had for the last 3.5 days, it's a fairly good crowd in for this evening session. And for the next two evening sessions, this one and tomorrow, when it's going to be women's semi-final night, there's going to be 2 ladies' matches for the crowd to enjoy. Davenport, we saw just going through in the previous match against Paolo Suarez. Kim Clijsters already through, so a Davenport-Clijsters semi-final. And on Louis Armstrong court, in a moment, it will be NN Arden, the Belgium #2 and #2 seed here, up against Anastasia Miskina from Russia, who took care of Mary Pierce today in a rain-delayed match. So, the winner of these 2 matches this evening will play each other in the semi-finals. In the men's today, we had some pretty intense action after waiting for so long. David Nalbandian, a winner over Roger Federer in 4 sets. Nalbandian improves to a 5-0 lifetime record against the world #2, as we see Francesca Schiavone coming onto the Arthur Ashe court, and Jennifer Capriati, who feels very comfortable in these surroundings. Eunice Elanui, also a winner today over Carlos Moya, the #7 seed. Nalbandian will meet Eunice Elanui. Andy Roddick we saw go through last night against Xavier Melis. Shen Shalkin, the semi-finalist from last year, again an impressive performance in this year's US Open, through to play Roddick. Leighton Hewitt, a winner over Thai #1 and Paradorn Shishapan in 4 sets. Spaniard and world #3 and French Open champion Juan Carlos Ferrero suffered a bit of a scare against Todd Martin. Todd Martin, the second oldest man in the tournament, came from 2 sets to love down, but was, I guess, ran out of a little steam in the 5th set with Ferrero coming through. Guillermo Correa, the exciting Argentine, took care of Jonas Bjorkman today to set up what is probably, out of all those matches, the most intriguing battle of them all against Andre Agassi. Correa against Agassi. All those matches tomorrow as we try and catch up from the rain that we've had for the last 3.5 days. So the one thing that has been good about the rain is that we're going to get a lot of excitement Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Elise Bergen alongside me to enjoy this match. And Elise, your thoughts on today's play?
Well, I'll tell you, the one person I've seen play today who's out here right now is Francesca Schiavone. I saw her play her 3rd set against Ai Sugiyama and was very impressed with Schiavone. She was down 2-love in that 3rd set. Went off the court. It was a rain delay. She was down actually 2-love. Sugiyama had 40-30 on her serves. Schiavone comes back and wins 6 consecutive games. She's a player. She's got a lot of talent, a lot of variety. You see she's in, when you get a look at her, she's in unbelievable physical condition. Has a great musculature, runs balls down, has a terrific slice backhand to go along with the toppy backhand, generates power. So she's a player that if Capriati isn't at her best, she could have a tough time with.
Solid year, but no real highlights for Capriati. A winner in New Haven last week. There you can see a couple of semi-finals. There were 10 years that separated those 2 semi-finals for Capriati, all the way back in 1991. Second youngest semi-finalist ever back in 1991, and this her 12th appearance at the tournament. Francesca Schiavone, who lives in Milan, has really started to climb up the rankings very swiftly over the last couple of years. Saw her actually when she qualified the first time back in 2000, reaching the 3rd round there. This is her 5th consecutive appearance here and the 4th time that she's made it through to the main draw. Last year, she reached the 4th round, and that her best result ever. Last year, a good win over Elena Dementieva, the 12th seed. But Capriati in this match, Elise, firm favourite. Anything in Schiavone's game that you saw as we see Capriati's route through this draw that you feel could trouble the American?
Well, you look at the 3rd round, and in that 3rd round, Capriati went 3 sets with Emily Lawal. Now, Lawal's a lefty who mixes the ball up. But Capriati, if she struggles with any type of player, it's someone who can take pace off the ball, and Schiavone has that ability with her backhand to take pace off. I think what we need to look at from Schiavone in this match is how she responds after coming back.
From having to play that match earlier. There you can see Capriati, the head-to-heads, 2-love. Hasn't dropped a set to the Italian. That a meeting on clay as well, perhaps Schiavone's better surface. So certainly things pointing towards a Capriati victory. 27 years of age now, the Capriati. And it's some story.
Excuse me, needed some water there. But you look at Schiavone's game, and she has that chance to bother Capriati. But if you saw Schiavone after she won the match with Sugiyama, you thought she'd already won the tournament. She had such a great response. She went down to her knees and was celebrating, and now here she is 2 hours later back out on the court. Can she recover from the excitement of getting to her first US Open quarterfinal and trouble Jennifer Capriati? But Mark, I've got to say, you said earlier that people weren't talking that much about Capriati early on, but I've got to say that I really picked her as the one to possibly beat in this tournament. She looked great in New Haven, striking the ball so beautifully. I thought in that match against Dementieva, even though she had trouble in that second set, she was out there all guns a-blazing. I mean, she went through a streak in that second set where I'd never seen anybody hit the ball that pure, that cleanly, and was at the top of her game.
Capriati, 5'8", born here in New York, and now currently residing in Saddlebrook,
1 minute.
on the west coast of Florida. Spent a fair bit of her time up around sort of Delray Beach, Boca Raton, but over in Saddlebrook now. Struggled a little bit with motivation. Back to 1990, Capriati burst onto the scene, ended that year ranked number 8 in the world. What an incredible debut year that Capriati had. 3 Grand Slam titles, 2 Australians, 1 French. With a disappointing Australian for the American this year, where she lost to Marlene Weingartner.
Weingartner, but you've got to remember, Jennifer Capriati had surgery on her eyes over the winter, I believe it was in November, to take care of the pterygium problem in her eyes, the growths that tennis players seem to get who spend a lot of time looking up into the sun. And so she had surgery on that, came back too soon. But she wanted to play the Australian Open, of course, because she was the 2-time defending champion. So it was a mistake for Capriati to go to Australia, got her off to a horrible start for this year.
We got off to a great start here at the US Open until Monday, when the rain came and never looked like leaving the Arthur Ashe Stadium court. But fortunately, we got a break in the weather today, late this afternoon. And we finally managed to get play through, and certainly if they get the 2 women's matches that are scheduled on this evening, to a certain degree, with the weather forecast for tomorrow, it looks as though Super Saturday will be happening, and then the men's final should be going ahead on Sunday as planned. It's going to be a tough run in for everybody, men and women.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, and more so for the men. Those guys might be limping out on the court on Sunday, but they'll make it. It's going to be brutal, just brutal for these guys, especially if they're coming in and some of them playing 5-setters.
As ever, a popular reception as Jennifer Capriati takes up her position to receive Francesca Schiavone's serve, the Italian, to start off this quarter-final. This is Schiavone's second ever quarter-final of a Grand Slam. First achieved that feat back at the French Open in 2001.
She goes for that first serve, hits it hard and flat, has a tendency to be inconsistent. And when she hits the second serve, it's very spinny, and that's where I think Capriati will have opportunities with the second serve to go after it.
From having watched Schiavone play this afternoon, do you think she's got the belief in herself that she can beat Capriati? Because that generally is more important on the women's tour than sometimes forehands and backhands.
I would say yes. If you watch her play, she's very animated. It makes a lot of noise out there. And very Italian in that sense. That has a great zest for life out there on the court and is entertaining.
Schiavone under pressure in our opening service game.
But that having been said, if Schiavone had a day off and a day to regroup before playing Capriati, I think it would have helped her. Coming right out after winning an emotionally charged match, going to be very difficult.
It hasn't started in the best fashion as well. She drops her first service game with her first double fall, and Capriati hits the ground running.
I had the opportunity to talk to Jennifer's mother, Denise Capriati, and asked her, because Jennifer played 3 days ago and she's had so many days off, what did she do? And she said basically nothing. On Tuesday, she had played Dementjeva on Monday. On Tuesday, she said she didn't even hit. She went into the gym for a little while. Got to hit a little bit yesterday, did some shopping, got her hair done a couple times, but basically not much.
That's nice width on the forehand there from Schiavone. She got her hair done a couple of times. What's going on with that?
She said a couple of times. She said once here, once at a shishi salon. Yeah, she did emphasize a couple of times, not just once. But Denise certainly made the point that it was great that Capriati didn't have to spend time out here at the courts just hanging around, which so many of the other players have had to do these past few days.
Capriati bossing the point